All right, I'll finish up with, just a few rapid fire various tips and tricks for getting through your interviews successfully. One is to bring your stamina. I mean, if you have actually had to fly out for an in-person interview halfway across the world, don't put yourself in a situation where you're fighting jet lag at the same point where you're trying to go through the most grueling, mentally challenging experience of your life, right? If you can arrange your travel schedule to give you a little bit of rest, time to get acclimatized to the time zone and, make sure you're in a good condition for that interview before you actually start, please, it's worth it. That extra day is going to pay off for sure. Going into a day-long interview loop when you haven't slept the night before, it's not going to end well. So don't show up tired. And if you didn't sleep well, do whatever it takes to make sure that you're alert and as sharp as possible. Do some exercise before you go in. Drink some energetic drink thing, whatever it takes. Whatever you need to do to make sure that you're alert and on your sharpest behavior, do it. Use whatever advantage you can within, the bounds of what's legal, of course. And eat breakfast, by the way. You want to make sure you have enough fuel to get through the day. If you're getting hungry and it's not even close to lunchtime yet, that's really going to interfere with your ability to perform and to think clearly. So do yourself a favor, have a nice nutritious breakfast before you go in for the interviews. Or, even if you're doing this from home or over the internet, make sure you're not going to get hungry halfway through it. And, use the bathroom before you head in. Again, if you're doing either an in-person or a virtual interview, you don't want biological needs interfering with your thought. So take care of that sort of a business ahead of time whenever you can. And also, if you're doing an in-person interview, please take a shower that morning. I really shouldn't have to say that, but I could give you some real horror stories at an interviewer where I got locked into a small room with somebody who really, really stank. And it kind of biased my thinking about how to evaluate that person and whether I want to work with them on a daily basis. So do everybody a favor. Show up clean, please. Hygiene is important. Also, think about your questions for them. Usually an interview will end with, do you have any questions for me? And if you just say, nope, can't think of anything, you just blew an opportunity to, make a good last impression on that interviewer. So display some curiosity. Think about some questions ahead of time that you might want to ask. Some good ones are, what's your typical day like at the company? What's a day in the life, in your world? What do you do on a day-to-day basis? How much time do you spend coding versus going to meetings and all that stuff? Ask about how career progression works. How am I going to be evaluated if I work at this company? What are the things you're looking for that correlate with success in the long term at this company? That's a good way of telling the interviewer that you're in it for the long term, you want to be a good contributor, and you want to help this company move forward. And you want to know how to do that. Another good one is asking about their biggest challenge. Maybe they asked you about yours. Turn the tables. What's the biggest challenge you've had at this company? How did you deal with it? That can actually give you some good insight about how the company operates internally and how much, corporate politics you might have to battle or not. So remember, they're not just interviewing you. You have a chance to interview them a little bit too. And not every company is a company you want to work for. I remember I interviewed with maybe the largest tech company there is once. I won't name names, but the signals that I picked up on when I was talking to the interviewers was, wow, maybe this culture isn't that great. Nobody really seems happy here. And I turned down their offer as a result of that. So keep your ears open too. Just because they want you doesn't necessarily mean you should want them.